I remember quite vividly my first real fandom experience. I was in the RWBY fandom, and during the build-up to the third season, I joined a small friend group based around our love of a particular ship. These two characters, Crow and Winter, were characters we knew of, but the Season 3 trailers were the first time we'd seen them in action, and it appears they have some sort of fiery rivalry, and back in 2015, that was the kind of stuff that I lost it over. Me and my friends made jokes, wrote fanfiction, made fan art, we created auxiliary content, things not within the text of the show itself, but which were crucial to my experience of watching it. There was a very interesting give and take with the show, something of a rhythm. An episode would come out weekly, and after I watched it, I'd go to my friends and we'd rejoice, theorize, and make fan content. I myself focused on making dumb Tumblr posts revolving around the ship in question. Don't look for the account, it has been deleted since then, but its contents have, for some godforsaken reason, been to some extent archived on iFunny. Also, Rooster Teeth stole one of the jokes for Ruby Chibi. Despite all of our fanaticism, despite the constant fanfiction we wrote of these two characters interacting with each other in colorful ways, they only have one scene together in Season 3 of RWBY, because, of course. Crow and Winter were an idea, an aesthetic, a little detail thrown in to attract people like me with my tastes. But the overall story of the season was about other things. There are very few stories that are both a slow-burn coffee shop AU about two rivals with romantic tension, and an action-packed fantasy story with greater themes, though I do know of one that I am actually quite fond of. This is Kimi-sen, the anime which writes fanfiction about itself. There are two stories within Kimi-sen, both equally important. The first is a war between a nation filled with magical people and a nation that relies on advanced technology to fight against mages. We follow two of the strongest soldiers on each side of the conflict. The tech country has Iska, and the magic country has Alice. Both are idealistic, wanting to end the war in a peaceful way, but their methods contradict one another's, and so despite their similar goals, they are thrust into conflict with one another. The other story is a love story. You have these two people who see alike in many ways, but who are forced to fight each other, and they just see so much in each other. They see hope. They see a worthy rival. They see someone who understands them. They see a hot piece of ass! And unlike many shows where this will be used as an accent for the fantasy plot, the ship here is actually directly incorporated into the story structure. Episode 1 has Iska reuniting with his friends after a stint in jail for having freed a mage from prison. He's sent out to the front lines and we're prepared for a fight against an extraordinarily powerful foe, the Ice Calamity Witch. Then, Iska fights her, one-on-one. He monologues about ending this war. She says dramatic stuff that echoes his sentiments. They both slowly realize that they're more alike than not, and when Alice slips and falls, he, out of instinct, chivalrously catches her. Her veil falls off and we have our meet cute. Then, episode 2 is them running into each other while on vacation in a neutral city where fighting is prohibited. Twice in a row. On 2 separate occasions, they run into each other by complete accident and go on the kind of rom-com antics that are usually only seen on Archive of Our Own. They went to the same restaurant and order the same thing, and then they bond over how they both totally agree on the right way to be pasta snobs, and that Alice's attendant just doesn't get it. It's genuinely incredible. I think that of all the moments like this in the story, the one which is the most fanfiction-esque is the build-up to the third main conflict. They run into each other by accident yet again and have tension as usual. Then, Alice's attendant, Rin, drugs Iska to make him fall unconscious, something she really only did out of spite, without expecting it to have actually worked. Now, both Alice and Rin are panicking, so they just decide to kidnap him. Oh, but now, they're all under the same roof together, and Rin wants to treat Iska poorly, like just some prisoner, but Alice wants to give him the VIP treatment, but without making it seem like she likes him or anything like that. I don't know how to describe why this is fanfiction-y, but if you read fanfiction, you know this is fanfiction. But more so than just having the plot trappings of a dumb shipfic, these subplots serve the same narrative purpose as fanfiction. Every now and then, the big fantasy plot stops so we can have some time to indulge in the hypothetical of, what if this war story was a rom-com? We can forget about the realities of police states and propaganda which aims to dehumanize the enemy and just appreciate what it'd be like for these two to just be together. To pretend that this was a slow burn copy shop AU. And then, every time it gets stolen from us, because there are more important things going on. I don't know if this was a tactic deliberately taken from the fandom experience, but it would not shock me if it was. Right now, the people who grew up with fanfiction are the ones writing fiction. Fanfiction and fandom in general is a huge part of some people's media consumption, a huge part of what makes a story what it is to them, and I think it is a really smart place to take ideas from. This is an innovative way of writing a romantic subplot within a story that is otherwise about something else. Not just the focus put on it, but the ebb and flow of it. The shifting narrative focus in a steady way which serves to obfuscate and then remind you of all the reasons that things are more complicated than love, but also why love is so important. This show is honestly so cool for so many reasons, but this might be one of my favorite. This fanfiction literally writes itself. If you like this video, then like and subscribe with notifications on, and make sure to leave a comment. And if you want me to keep making more of these, then support me on Patreon. And now, a thank you to all of my patrons, with an especially big thank you to my Tier 2 subscribers, Bellman, Carolyn Vig, and Love Your Content. Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching.